This is McHenry's.
It's not. It's Virginia Foxx. Virginia Foxx.
Virginia Foxx.
I ran against Patrick McHenry in the last election, but because of the redistricting, which there's a map on the back of the card there. Yeah. So Virginia's out of. She lives in Watauga.
There. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's hey, it's been confusing for all of us. McHenry lives in Lincoln County, so they kind of shifted him up there.
Tell me a little bit about your background. Where'd you grow up? All those kind of things.
I'm originally from up north, but
I'm
I've
old
been.
school, and that's important.
No, I get it. I'm originally from up north. I was born outside of Philadelphia and spent a few years in New Jersey, but I've been in the Charlotte area since 1986. I was about 12 when I moved there.
I remember seeing that online.
Yeah, so I went to South Mecklenburg High School. I graduated at Appalachian State University in '96. While I was there, I interned on Capitol Hill with former Congresswoman Sue Myrick. She was a Republican. It was her first year in office. She had been mayor of Charlotte, a moderate mayor of Charlotte, and I knew her. So, I used the networking to be able to get into that opportunity. I've always been a Democrat. It's been very important for me as a, growing up. I remember, had a great teacher in 8th grade who really talked about John F. Kennedy and what he stood for, and the comparisons to Camelot, but more than that, what he delivered, and then obviously, the assassination and the hurt that put on our nation, but how that spurred LBJ supporting the civil rights movement and really solidifying the Democratic Party that we know today. I've always been passionate about that. Anything else?
So, Myrick, if Myrick hired you as a Democrat,
Right.
that speaks
Well-
well of your personal.
In fairness, I don't know that she knew I was a Democrat.
Oh, okay.
It came out midway through, and they all kind of had a chuckle about it, and they actually used it. We did this one thing. I'm going to get in the weeds just for one little story. They were actually taking down the steps to the House of Representatives because it was crumbling, and it was all bricks from the Civil War era. So they were replacing it and putting the marble back, but with a sturdier foundation. But the legislative assistants in Myrick's office, along with some others, went out with a pickup truck and literally got a bunch of the bricks, and they were like selling the bricks for charity. They used the fact that I was a Democrat to call it a bipartisan group that was involved.
The one
with this.
Democrat.
But that was the one time that they were happy about the fact that I was a Democrat.
I don't envy your economic and philosophical stretch there.
Oh yeah. I mean, Gaston County to Ashe County and
You're speaking
Wilkes
to
County.
the choir here, because we have it within our county between
Right.
George O'Brien all the way up to John's Ridge. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's quite
It's huge, yeah.
Incredible array.
And I'm really impressed with Burke, and I'm really counting on Burke. I think that Burke has a tremendous opportunity. What we need to do is get every single, and I know the party faithful, and I know the power of Pam and the organization you've got around her to deliver this. And I think that hopefully I'm a candidate that will inspire some folks, and I want to obviously get that message out and get to know some more people and get people involved. But I think we have a real opportunity. Being an Appalachian State alumni, I think is going to be a big benefit for the area, and especially with Watauga, which has already turned blue. But I think Burke has the opportunity to turn blue this year, and I really want to be part of that. I know it's a huge ask, but what I started to say about wanting to win and in this to win, but the worst case scenario for me is that we shift the blue enough in this area that it benefits the governor race, the Senate race, and the presidential race. To put that point, in my last election in the 10th district, while I did not raise as much as I should have for a congressional race, in fact, out of 9 challengers to Republican incumbents, I raised the least. However, I had the 4th largest shift from Republican to Democratic votes. So I'm really proud of that, and that's what I want to bring here is the power of people, not necessarily of money. I've pledged no corporate PAC money. And I mean that. And I talk about the types of things I would put in place if and when I get elected and to Washington, because I've been up there. I've seen how it operates. Number one, I would make sure that my office logs of who is coming to visit me is transparent. It's online for everyone to see. That if a lobbyist group wants to meet with me, then I think that they should have to convince one of my constituents to come to Washington with them and sit in on that meeting. I want it very clear that when I'm in Washington, I'm doing the business of the people of my district. I'm not wheeling and dealing for more money to remain elected, as we know others do, when those interests would rarely be against the needs of the people of the district. I'm not going to be someone who's going to go up there and work for a corporation and deliver what they want. I want to be able to come back to the district and look you in the eye again and again. Virginia Foxx doesn't do that. She doesn't do town halls anymore because she can't look her people in the eye and say, yes, I'm up there fighting for you. I'm doing the business of this district. So I want to be able to do that. I want us to move to where we have public funding of elections so that if I do get elected, that my challenger should have the same amount of money as I do, and which gives them the same opportunity to make their case that they would be better at my job than I am. And I also want to make sure that everyone in my district understands what I'm doing in Washington. I want to increase that transparency. I'm a tech guy. I'm also a big kind of AV guy. I want to do a weekly video that covers three main things. What did I do the week before? What bills were passed? What demystify it in very plain, accessible speed. I want to talk about what's coming up this next week, what's coming ahead, to give you an opportunity to understand where my positions are, what we're getting ready to talk about, and to be able to give feedback if you don't agree with where I'm thinking on that. And then finally, what are my hindrances? And this is kind of based on an IT thing called Scrum, but hindrances being, what do I foresee is going to be in my way of delivering what's best for this district based on what's going on in Washington. If I can do those three things and give you a video on that on a weekly basis, something that's short but accessible and delivers what's necessary, I think it's going to make a big difference for everyone, no matter what side of the aisle they're on, to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. What happens up there, because Washington seems so far away, they hide in their little offices, they surround themselves with assistants that mean that you're not going to actually get to see them. They talk only to the wealthy folks that are going to contribute to the re-election. We got to get away from that style of governing. We got to get away from that style of a representative government, because that's not representative of you. And for as much as the Republicans will continue to vote for someone like Virginia Foxx to go back, I think if they really understood the policies that she stood for, they would understand she's not up there for them either. She's out for herself and for the interest of the corporate greed that she backs. And we have to fight and change that. And it's only going to come from people power. It's only going to come from when enough of us stand up. And it's always possible in these districts. Yes, the numbers look bad, but it's always possible. But we have to have all, pardon the term, all guns blazing. We need to have everyone who has a pulse, that's a Democrat or an unaffiliated who agrees with us at a poll, no matter what it takes from us. You know, my campaign will look at whatever we can do legally to help get people to the polls, whether it's providing transportation, whether it's helping the county parties to make sure that absentee ballots are available. I don't want to pull an NC9 and collect them, but I want to make sure that we get them to the people who need them. We have to. It's our only choice, right? This election, I'm sure, as many of y'all have been around for as many years as you've been around, as many elections as you've seen, you've been told, oh my God, this is the most important election of our lives. This is the most important election of our lives. I can't stress that enough. And if the very least I do is increase the number of turnout in this district, as I said, to benefit and keep our great governor in office, to flip our Senate seat, because Tom Tillis needs to be a one-term senator. Mm-hmm. And for God's sake, for God's sake, we have got to get Donald Trump out of office.
Oh, yeah.
He is destroying the foundation of our republic, and the senators, the Republican senators, who I hope we flip that Senate to continue to enable him, are just the worst. So I hope that you understand the passion I have, the understanding that I have of what we're in, what situation we're in. And if you know folks that are the least bit amenable to hearing on the other side, and one of the things I talk about is they are surrounded by a Fox News bubble. And it's very hard for someone like me who's been demonized, literally demonized by the other side, to get through to some of them. But they're your friends and family. And in the South, we don't talk about, politics, religion, sex, and money, right? Those are the things we don't talk about in the South. We need to talk about politics. We need to break cracks in that bubble, because until that happens, they're never going to be able to hear from someone like me and understand that I really and passionately want to fight for them. I had a long talk on Facebook Messenger with someone who is sharing with me all the struggles that she's going through and her frustrations, and so much of what she's giving back to me is tinged by the propaganda of Fox News. That, oh my God, certainly Robert Mueller did not conclude that there was collusion. That oh my gosh, the immigrants are what's destroying what's happening here. All this is happening and putting us in a situation where, to try and tell these folks, you're being told lies. Everything that Donald Trump talks about, all the aspersion he puts on the Democratic Party. I mean, they're going on and on about how the Democratic Party is rigging the elections against Bernie Sanders. But yet, how many of their caucuses and primaries did they cancel so no one could challenge Donald Trump? Even though there were several candidates, Joe Walsh, Bob Weld? Bill Weld?
Bill Weld.
Bill Weld. There were candidates who were standing up to say, no, but they were never given that opportunity. So it's important for y'all to understand what I'm trying to deliver. This is what I was going to go off from you. To make those cracks, this is my suggestion to people, because a lot of people say, that sounds great, David, how in the world do you do this? Literally, they're being told the same thing over and over again. It is literally brainwashing propaganda. But what I would recommend is find one topic that you think you might have an opportunity to win them over on. Get as educated about it as you can on our side. And then simply ask them, hey, what do you think about this? Get them talking and ask them clarifying questions about what they're saying. The truth of the matter is, everything on Fox News, because of the way they build it, has ginormous holes in logic if you really get down to it. So you can talk to them and basically say, but what about this? And get them asking, and don't do it in a confrontational way, but really get them thinking. And they may shut down, they may, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, walk away. But you've planted that seed that becomes the crack. That crack that ends up being the means for me to get through to them and say, there is a better way forward, there is a better road forward, and I want to be there with you and make that happen. What else? Anyone else have any last?
What can you do to help us motivate local voters?
So I'm trying to, once we get past this primary, we're going to hire another campaign manager. I had one and he stepped aside. So we're going to hire another campaign manager. One of the things we're going to really try and do is really have a lot of strong media presence. Things that you can share easily online with folks that says, oh man, check out what he's talking about this. And there's a lot who have argued with me that you're too progressive for this red of a district. My argument is that you're not going to get anybody excited about fighting for the Democratic cause and fighting to get out the vote if you're just going to offer middle of the roads. Yeah, that's my wife, Barbara Brown. My kids are both also here, Glenn and Elizabeth. We have sacrificed, and I'm not trying to claim it at the level of like a military family, but we have sacrificed in the past 2.5 years, almost 3 years now, fighting to get the cause in this area. And we want to make sure people understand that we're in this to win because we know we have to. We know some way along the line. Is it this election that this congressional seat switches? Maybe not. I really hope so. And I think we got a real opportunity with the weakness that she's got because of only the 5 counties up top were voting for her before. You and Caldwell weren't in either district, but then below the bigger population, they had me on their ballot before. My name recognition is strong down there. So these are the things that we want to fight for. I need help getting my name recognition out. We've got some yard signs. Make sure for this primary to put them in high visibility areas because we have not brought a lot. We have a ton. One of the reasons why we've taken a while to get them out is they all said the 10th district because we recycle everything. We kept everything. We had thousands of signs that said the 10th district. We solved it. We got a little vinyl sticker that says the 5th and put it over the 10th, and you can't tell the difference. So we want to make sure that we get those out where it matters here in this primary and save the rest for the general, and we'll buy more for the general for sure. We need funds. We need help with support to raise money. Raising money is really key in this kind of thing because we ain't getting no love from the national party. And we certainly are in limbo land with the state party as well. So this is really critical. If you know of anybody who's donating to the DCCC and lives in our district, make sure they understand none of that money is coming back to our district. So if you want to support a local candidate who is pledging to you the backbone of what I do running a race is making sure we get Democrats out across the board. We lift up any lower ballot races. Anytime I do an event, I always encourage those that are running. In fact, I know Dorian is trying to make it here. I guess he's not making it on time. But I talk to people like that who I know are running in these local races, that every opportunity for them to get before a voter is a good thing. And to be shown side by side with me if they want to. Sometimes they don't want to. But it's important. It's important. So spread that word. Let people know that you have a candidate who's had experience, who knows what he's doing, who's gone up and had actual debates with a sitting member of Congress and stood toe-to-toe. If you ever want to check it out, I've got a good debate online against Patrick McHenry, and yeah, I took it to him pretty good. If I get a chance for a debate against Virginia Foxx, which may or may not happen, she hasn't done it for a few years, but she's destabilized. She only has 30% of her voting population. She may feel the need to do it this time to get known and make sure she gets the votes. So we need your support and spread that word.
And what's your website?
My website is DWB4Congress.com. DWB4Congress.com. Everything's on the cards. And DWB4Congress is my Facebook, my Twitter handle, my Instagram feed, my Snapchat. We haven't used the Snapchat. I don't like that.
Your email.
My email, yes, info@dwb4congress.com. It's all uniform intentionally, so you can find us. I think there's even a YouTube for DWB for Congress as well.